I have created an imaginary world in my head that I only visit when I'm in bed and going to sleep. People who can fall asleep within 8 seconds of their head hitting their pillow. How the fuck do you fall asleep within 8 seconds of your head hitting your pillow? My brother is one of these people, and I asked him this recently. The trick is a clean conscience. I got nothing to think about. Me, how do you not think about anything? I dunno. I just stopped thinking. He's 16. My friend does this. We'll be playing video games, then he'll suddenly be tired and good night. Literally, seconds later I can hear him snoring in his room. Like your friend, I also can sleep right away. I've been teased about it a lot growing up. But seeing as how I'm in the minority of people, I must assume that would be because of envy? I'm not sure if other people like me are like this, but I don't have an inner monologue that distracts from my sleep time. You can't think. Don't think of anything real or about falling asleep. Once you do, you'll never go to sleep. The best trick I've found when I don't fall asleep easy is to put myself in a movie. Like, imagine yourself walking through the gates of Hogwarts. What happens next? All up to you, and just let your imagination flow. Eventually, you'll fall asleep without realizing it. To get in the mindset to sleep, I put on a movie that I've seen before. Fresh and interesting movies stimulate me, but a movie I've seen before is old hat and is able to get my focus enough to drown out thinking but not overstimulating me. I've seen the first 15 to 45 minutes of Johnny Mnemonic like 100 times. Probably only seen the movie from beginning to end like 5 times. It's a great movie, and so is the short story it's based on. I use a meditation method I learned in a yoga class. Lay flat on your back, take deep breaths through your nose. As you exhale, mentally relax each muscle group, starting with your face and working down to your toes. Try to imagine exhaling through your muscles and out through your toes. Imagine your body slowly melting into your bed. This usually takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute. Next, imagine as vividly as possible a river. It helps if you use one from memory. I personally use a combination of the River Wild movie and memories from a family trip to the Green River. Imagine yourself walking out to the middle of the river. Let yourself get lost in the flow around you. Try to imagine any stray thoughts floating to you on the river. As you think of things, set them in the water and watch them float away. This process without fail gets me to sleep within 10 minutes if I am having trouble sleeping. But like Ralph Wiggum, sleep is where I am a Viking. I'm a firefighter, and my one partner says what he likes least about me is my ability to fall asleep so fast after returning from a call. It helps to be physically tired. Much easier to fall asleep when your body has been engaged in physical activity during the day. I try to lay perfectly still, and not allow myself to scratch my nose if it itches, for example. I just ignore the itch, and next thing I know, it's time to get up. I just discovered that there are people with an inner monologue, and this voice in their head allows them to have silent discussions and worry about decisions and whatnot. I don't have this. I don't have any voices talking to me. My preference is also to listen to a documentary on YouTube or Netflix. I set my timer on my phone to stop playing after 20 minutes and rarely stay awake till the end. I am very well versed in the first 10 minutes of World War II. For me, it was a learned skill, thank you US Army. They pushed me to work from reveille to taps. And only allowed for 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and I need 7 to 8. I wore an alarm watch. Any break during the day? Oh, I have 25 minutes? Set alarm watch, prop against a tree or lay down anywhere I could, bam, asleep. My wife is still amazed at how I do it. Between the infantry and parachute rigging, I learned how to sleep anywhere anytime for as long as I could find the time. I'm hardwired like that now. But trying to get me to fall asleep in my bed on time. Well, I'm going to the VA in the morning for my disability review, and I'm going to bring this up. This sucks. Just basically never give a shit about anything meaningful, that way you'll never have anything to keep you awake. A totally healthy way to approach life. This is literally me, my husband is just the reverse. The main differences I observe between the two of us. 1. I'm a doer, he is a thinker. Worrying about stuff keeps him up at night, whereas I go to bed with the reassurance I've done all I can do that day and que sera sera. 2. He brings his phone to bed and browses Reddit. I'm strictly no screens an hour before bed. 3. Other than bringing the phone to bed, he has no routine. By about 9:30, I'm winding down with my skincare routine, washing up, making a hot drink, and then in bed with a book by 10:15 at the latest. 4. Since I'm the high energy person in the relationship, I am moving and doing things all the time, get home from work, cooking, have dinner, work out, do some laundry, read before bed. I'm pretty physically tired/drained by the time I hit the pillow. My husband runs at what seems to be a consistently lower energy level, like low enough that he needs a lot of downtime, usually in front of screens, to recharge, but high enough that he doesn't sleep well. My husband and I are the same way in that I fall asleep instantly and he tosses and turns for an hour or so. Sometimes he even gets back up and goes out to the living room because he can't get comfortable. That is such a foreign concept to me. Once I'm in bed, I'm out like a light. But then again, I can fall asleep anywhere. I'm more of the thinker though. By the time I get to bed, I've thought myself tired. Then I pass out. I used to be an aircraft mechanic in the military. I was in a tug vehicle used to tow aircraft, waiting for another shop to finish a low power turn engine are running. I was maybe 10 to 15 feet away from the aircraft, sitting in the tug. All that noise and still managed to take a 45-minute nap and woke up as soon as the engines shut down. I'm pretty sure they ran the engines up to 75% power and still slept right through it all. I have created an imaginary world in my head that I only visit when I'm in bed and going to sleep. My mind associates those places and characters and narratives with sleep. Okay, so after years of tossing and turning and having horrible sleep, I've come close to nailing my routine. Exercise during the day. Wake up and go to bed at the same time every day, if possible, that way your body knows when it's time to crash. Magnesium supplement with melatonin and GABA about an hour before I want to fall asleep. Weighted blanket. For whatever reason helps me relax like nothing else. I actually can now usually fall asleep within a few minutes of going to bed, but if not I play a little mind game. Body scanning is a solid one. Just imagine a ray of sunlight slowly going over you from your toes to your head, and relax your muscles as the sunlight goes over them. I hope that makes sense. There's a lot of guided meditations on YouTube that can walk you through it. I also pick a category and try to name one thing in that category for every letter of the alphabet, X. Fruits, apple, banana, cantaloupe. And finally, I sometimes imagine walking down to the beach near my house and taking a nap there, although I rarely make it far enough to take a nap now. None of this stuff works right away, but even one can make a huge difference with some commitment, so just give it a bit of time. I had to train myself to sleep fast. I went from taking hours upon hours to fall asleep, but now if I say I'm going to bed I'll be asleep for you can say okay, which can sometimes be a bad thing, ha ha ha. Start by turning off all electronics you are using, lay down, close your eyes and no matter what do not open them till morning. At first, it's painful because you'll lay with your eyes shut for hours in boredom, but after a few weeks of doing this every night, your body gets trained into falling asleep faster and faster. It's basically breaking the habit of not being able to fall asleep. Hope this helps you sleep better. This is how I trained myself as well, except I added in that I wasn't allowed to move at all. Itch. Can't scratch it. Uncomfortable? Oh well. Eyes are closed and the exact position is maintained until either I fall asleep or my alarm goes off. It was rough several nights when I first started this, but I very rarely have trouble falling asleep now because my brain and body know that I mean business. There's a proverb in my mother tongue that translates to "don't go to bed to sleep." What it essentially means is that one must not go to the bed unless he or she is very sleepy, so sleepy that he'll fall asleep instantly. One must never go to bed to lay down and hope to fall asleep. Years of intense sleep deprivation. I just finished general surgery residency and I can fall asleep anywhere, anytime. The years of desperately wanting sleep but not being allowed to make me sleep like the dead. My dad has AD, and instead of Ritalin or some other drug every day, he has a cup of coffee before bed, which gets his mind at the right place to fall asleep, as counterintuitive as it seems. I do the same, except I drink tea. Not as crazy as it sounds. If I'm up for extended periods, like near 24 hours, the sleep deprivation becomes stressful and physically painful. I have a cup of coffee. Perks me right up. The stress of not sleeping goes away. Stress hormones go away. I pass out within 30 minutes of said cup of coffee. Every guy I've ever slept next to has somehow managed to fall asleep within minutes. Then there's me, where it takes sometimes literal hours for me to fall asleep. Staying asleep is a whole other issue. I have no words for how jealous I am. Clean living and a clear conscience. No, honestly? I have no idea. It's changed. I remember lying in bed awake for hours as a child. Kept night owl hours as a young adult, slept when I could when I had babies, woke instantly if something was wrong in the house. Years of waking up early has given me a reliable internal early alarm. I still stay up late a lot, but when I'm ready for bed it's usually pretty quick. Sometimes I'll put on headphones with music or a podcast. Rarely am I awake longer than a couple of minutes after I get in bed, unless my feet are cold. Keep the bed, and as much as possible the bedroom, for two things, shagging and sleeping. Do nothing else in that damn bed. Don't look at devices, don't read, talk about confusing your body, don't sit around talking to your either shag them or snuggle up and go to sleep with them. Half an hour before going to bed, drop the lights in the rest of the house, use lamps only if you can. That's really it. I've had partners over the years amazed that I can do it, but once I've gotten them to follow the above, they have no problem. My name is Yoshikage Kira. I'm 33 years old. My house is in the northeast section of Morio, where all the villas are, and I am not married. I work as an employee for the KMU department stores, and I get home every day by 8 p.m. at the latest. I don't smoke, but I occasionally drink. I'm in bed by 11 p.m. and make sure I get 8 hours of sleep, no matter what. After having a glass of warm milk and doing about 20 minutes of stretches before going to bed, I usually have no problem sleeping until morning. Just like a baby, I wake up without any fatigue or stress in the morning. I was told there were no issues at my last checkup. I'm trying to explain that I'm a person who wishes to live a very quiet life. I take care not to trouble myself with any enemies, like winning and losing, that would cause me to lose sleep at night. That is how I deal with society, and I know that is what brings me happiness. Although, if I were to fight I wouldn't lose to anyone. Exhaustion. My daughter has type 1 diabetes. I wake up to check on her or give her insulin or glucose up to 8 times a night. I also have an old dog that needs to go outside 1 to 3 times a night because she can't hold it in well anymore. I work 50 to 60 hours a week and get paged after hours sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I fall asleep before I'm even in bed. I read till I can't keep eyes open, and I've found that reading science fiction is way better than reading nonfiction, which gets me thinking about work or world events or whatnot. Shift working RN here with 2 boys under 5. Aside from finding sleep on a pillow in 8 seconds, I have unsafely ripped Z's on the toilet, standing in the shower, during every 3Q of a Huskies game at AA Field, completely comatose prior to takeoff on every flight. It's a gift. A gift that comes from burning your soul by candlelight for a decent paycheck and maintaining my involved in everything my kids do dad status. It used to be pills. Then wine. Then vodka and pills. Then wine and pills. I mean, I'd fall asleep in 4 seconds. Then I got help. 12 steps work. Now my new wife and Serenity help me stay asleep. I don't go down so fast anymore, but I do it consciously. That has made all the difference sober 2 years. For me it's that I only get in bed under the covers if I'm planning to go to sleep. I don't surf my phone, or get on my laptop. I don't have a TV in my bedroom. So mentally my entire life has been when I get under the covers, it's for sleep. So I fall asleep really fast once I'm lying down in my bed under the covers. However, the flip side of this is I have to be covered, so on a particularly hot summer night where I really want to be above the covers with a fan on, I can't sleep. If I can't have the weight of blankets, I can't sleep. You have to practice fake sleeping. When someone is in deep sleep, their breathing is a lot heavier and deep. Similar to meditation, the key to falling asleep fast is shutting off that conscious tick that keeps us awake. So practice quieting your thoughts and falling asleep by focusing on your breath. Oh me, it seems a bit different. Of course, fatigue helps, but I noticed several things. Most of the time, sleep comes naturally to me. But when it doesn't, I focus on a few things. State of thoughtlessness, removing all thoughts out of your mind if necessary. To me, I can click them away like Windows in a PC. A calming heartbeat. Slow your breathing, focus on calming yourself down. Breathing. Daydreaming. Once I notice I start getting into light dreams, I know I'm close to sleeping. Relax, loosen your muscles. Comfortable position. Find a spot on your pillow that's comfortable for you and position your arms and pegs that way too. This seems to really work for me. Extra, masturbation helps with 1 to 3. For me at least. Routine. Go to bed the same time every night. Have a bedtime routine that you only do before you're ready to sleep. No screens 30 minutes before you go to bed. Don't be in your bed unless you are trying to sleep, your mind will associate it with going to sleep and it will be easier. Make a routine and stick to it. Make it a few steps, anything simple really. Turn a light off, take a sip of water, remove a pillow and turn onto a side. Find something that works for you and do it the same way every night. I have a breathing method I developed as a child sharing a room with a loud brother. I breathe deeply, loudly, concentrating on the sound of my own breath, and I focus on white space with nothing in it. Knocks me out in no time. I made my bed as comfortable and boring as possible. White cotton sheets, white cotton pillowcases, etc. I try to make my bed or at least keep it semi-made because I have an easier time falling asleep when the sheets are straight and my blankets lined up properly. I wear white cotton pajamas without buttons or anything scratchy because if I'm even a little bit uncomfortable it's much harder to fall asleep. I braid my hair before bed, which stops my hair from getting in my face, because again, I can't sleep if I'm uncomfortable. As an added bonus, keeping my hair braided stops it from wrapping around my neck and throttling me while I sleep. I use a very heavy blanket. It's not weighted, but I knit it myself and hang knit blankets way more than store-bought blankets. I keep my feet warm, because for some reason that helps. Depending on the season, I'll either use a heated blanket, heating pad or just wear socks. I don't try to go to bed unless I actually feel tired. There's this sort of wave of sleepiness that hits me at night, and if I get in bed 20 minutes of that happening, I pass out almost immediately. If I miss that window, I get an adrenaline rush and will be up forever. I try to do soothing, repetitive things at night before bed. Knitting, folding laundry, etc. Sometimes I wear blue light filtering glasses because that is supposed to help your body properly produce sleep hormones. And if it doesn't, well, the placebo effect's pretty powerful too. If nothing else works, I take melatonin and slowly drink a cup of tea while reading Calvin and Hobbes. I've got ADHD, caffeine relaxes me. Thank you for watching Reddit Space. Please subscribe if you love these Reddit stories.